Okay, fair enough. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Arpan.
Hi, good afternoon, Walter. Good, you finally managed to log in. So, good afternoon, Sam. Firstly, um, I am Arpan Dikshit. I finished my schooling from SEM in 1999, and I joined in 1989. And Shashank Emmanuel, who along with Rakesh sir has put all this together, is also from my batch. So I'll just give you a small intro. Sports as a career for students. You see, when we were in SEM, there were a lot of athletes who were very good in sports, but nobody knows them in the fields of sport. None of the sporting fields have their names today. They were exceptional in their respective fields. For example, if I'm not going to go into seniors of SEM and juniors of SEM, I'll speak specifically about my classmates. For example, Rahul Bharti got the sword of honor at the military academy. Deepak Bora is a sitting lieutenant colonel right now. He got the best boxer at the IMA. Mairaj Singh got the best footballer. Many of you would know Lieutenant Colonel Pavan Shah. He got the best all-rounder. He's currently Special Forces. But somewhere along the line, despite the fact that all of these athletes were brilliant, none of them made it to the international circuit, despite the fact that they had the talent. Probably they were different times. The country itself was evolving. Today, we believe we have evolved and now are in a position. Adi Gupta, who's joining us, she's an international ranking player, and she's a student like most of you sitting there in the audience. She's from she's in school. So our objective is to reach out to students and give them the choice of sports as a career, and primarily for that today we are joined by Walter Grunfield. Now Walter is a certified international coach and has been part of programs since the late 1980s and has been a professional coach since 1990. He's a name to reckon with in the tennis circuit. He never attends such meetings or webinars, so we would like to thank him for making this an exception. He himself has been with the Qatar's Olympic Committee and Davis Cup teams, and today has an army, literally an army of distinguished world trainers and coaches training international and national athletes. We, the SEM fraternity, would like to welcome Walter to this webinar first and hope his gems and inputs will be instrumental in transforming the careers of many of you sitting in the audience. So first, a round of applause for Walter Gunfield, please.
You hear me?
Yes, Walter, we can hear you. I would like to start this session. We understand we have paucity of time and we don't want to, extend this session by a lot of other stuff. We would like to stick to sports. So Walter is, also the director at the Barcelona Sports Academy. Walter, my first question to you, which every student sitting here would want to know is, what are the advantages of starting early in a professional academy? And why starting late may never work in today's international competitive environment?
Well, the first thing is welcome everybody. And then to answer this question, the most important issue to have in account is understanding that tennis is a first individual sport. It's a sport that requires to go through a lot of process, and a lot of stages during the developing of a player that require years of hard work. Then the main benefit of studying earlier is to have the enough time, enough year to go in through the whole process that will allow you to become to your best, and also to be searching to becoming an international player or pro player. At the end, that's what everybody's dream. Give you the time to go in the process step by step with more relaxed and with less pressure, and also learning all the different aspects that is required for becoming a player. becoming a player is not only just play good, no? Hit balls and play good tennis. Involve so many different aspects, no? From the, especially from the mental side, no? Beside the physical, the technical, the experience, and gaining maturity, no? From the player. Then the mental issues and understanding of the sport and the real tennis is the key for any of the young players to have more chances to succeed in the future. Then this is a big advantage, no, to start early, because you will have more time and like I say, less pressure, because when you're getting older, all the pressures or different kind of pressure start coming, no? The age, the studies, what you're gonna do. I'm growing as a tennis player, but I'm in the middle of the process, then I need more time. And that sense of that insecurity maybe you can have in some moments can be a difficult obstacle for the player to go through. Then starting earlier, he can go very, or let's say, easier way, and with more time just to go finishing all the different stages of this process, no? Then tennis, when you're young, at the end, the main goal for all the young players is to become a pro. You need, like I said, years of a routine, no? A routine of training that allow you to build yourself as the player you want to be in the future. Then, and the level you have in the early stages of the career when you're young, with 10, 11, 12, no? Is not determinant at all for the possibilities you will have in the future if you have all those process through many years, okay? And I have many examples of players that maybe when they were between 10 to 14 years old, they were not players that were in the top of their categories, no, or the country. They were average players, or they were even lower standard players, but they were very motivated and very commitment to the sport and to become a player. Then when they reach the age of 17, 18, 19, they already become pro players, you know? When 5 years before, the people were not thinking that that player will be capable to reach that stage, okay? That's why it's very important. That is the biggest advantage, because time is the most important thing the player and the coaches need to make up. Hello, yeah. Is the most important that issue that all of us need to make the player, no?
So what in India, we have this traditional setup wherein primarily students, they study hard, they keep slogging out till the time that they are, 18 years of age. They do give time to sports, probably 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hours a day. And the studies that they're putting in is 2 hours in the evening, say about half an hour, 45 minutes in the morning. And apart from that, the entire schooling during the day. So and the entire education in India, for example, is catering towards students becoming professionals in the field of engineering, doctors, scientists, and more specifically in today's times with information technology, having taken a quantum leap here in India, a lot of people going in the field of technology. So this thing of sports, and in this case an individual sport like tennis, this thing of uncertainty is always there. So what would you like to tell the students in terms of what is life as a tennis player for an athlete? What is life as a tennis player when they decide to become a tennis player? What is life like them for them?
Well, the first thing that, especially the society, no, the society, the parents, they have to understand that the most important thing is that if the player really wants to dedicate himself to 100% to the sport, okay? That's the first thing. After that, they have to understand that at these times, to become a professional player require big effort, no, and a lot of sacrifices, no, from the family, from the team, no, from the coaches, from the players, from the parents, from the whole family and the whole team. At these times, the educational side changed a lot compared to the past, because now all the players, not only in tennis, but especially in tennis, because like I said, it being individual sport, involve more issues, and we can say more difficulties, no? Because you are the only one, no? To have to prove yourself all the time and make the things happen. Now with the studies online, that insecurity about, but if you don't become a player after the whole year you are giving that dedication, not to the sport, you become a very good player, but you don't reach certain level, no, to high level. What are you gonna do about your life? And this is something that right now, like I say, change completely, and is have a very easy solution, because all the players are studying online. Okay, they study even primary school online, high school online, then they do the college online, then do the masters online, and at the end they have the same career that going to the universities. That gives two things. First one is that at the end, the player is going to be prepared for life. At the same time, he's trying to pursue his dream or her dream, okay? To be in an environment wants to be happy and enjoying what he wants to do. He will get a career, the player will get a career after all those years, that is the same that do it presentially in the school, and at the same time is gaining all those years to concentrate fully on the tennis career. Then at the end, the insecurity of becoming a pro player or a high-level pro player will always exist, because that exists in everything in life, no, on any sport. But the insecurity of what's going to happen with you when you become a really good player, but not enough to be top player, doesn't exist anymore, because you will have, in a certain moment, we became prepared to make the decision, okay, I reached to this level, it's very good, but it's not enough, no, to go further. And then you can develop a career as a normal student that go to the university in a daily basis, okay? And that give you easily 8 years or 10 years of working on developing you as a player without losing nothing about the cultural or the study, no, or the study planning for the future that will be necessary anyway, no? Because even if you become a very good player and a pro player, sport has a limit, no? And then when you're 35 years old, you can retire and you can do the career that you already studied, no? In the previous year.
We'll come to that, Walter, because I believe that is a completely detailed question. I'd like to bring Adi in. Adi, you are somebody who all these students sitting in the audience will be, able to relate to, because you yourself are in school. You started very early, and you also were somebody who started from naught. I was speaking to Commander Anup. He said you started literally from naught, and now in a space of 2.5 years at our academy here in Barcelona in Spain, have managed to get a world ranking in tennis. And it is not an ordinary feat, and the journey has just begun. So before we take what your journey could be in the coming years, I would, Adi, like to ask you, and probably you can throw in these tidbits and gems to the students about your life as a tennis player, how you started, why you started, and what life is balancing between studies and a professional tennis athlete.
So basically, it's like balancing life as a player and as a student at the same time involves a lot of commitment and sacrifice, and you can only do it if you truly believe that that's what you want to do as a lifestyle, because it's not a choice for a short period of time. It's a lifestyle that you're choosing. So yeah, it involves commitment and sacrifice. And at the same time, like Walter mentioned before, I did not start as someone who was performing really well in India when I was younger. So to come here to a different country 4 years ago was a challenge, to come to a completely different country and start from the basics. But 4 years of training, competing, giving my all every single day has what's led me to have the ranking I do have today.
So Adi, what's your average day like? Say, if you could just give insights to the students that this is the time I wake up, these are the number of hours I train, these are the number of hours I study. So how is that work-life balance happening?
Since training starts at 8, I normally get up at around 6:15 in the morning to eat, get prepared for training, because we leave at 7:45. We reach here, we train from 8:30 to around 1, which involves 2.5 hours of tennis and an hour and a half of fitness. Then we have a lunch break from 1 to 2:45, which involves eating, resting, but also managing assignments and essays that I have to write for school. And then after that, we train from 3 to 5:30, which again involves about 2 hours of tennis and an hour and a half of fitness, or an hour of tennis. And after that, it's already 6:30 by the time we reach home. So after the entire day of training, I have to dedicate an hour and a half of studying again to be able to be at par with what I need to do.
So it is hard work. Before I, carry on with asking you more questions, I would like to involve the students as well. So if any of you have questions for myself, Adi, Walter, if you could just raise your hands, and we can have a more engaging session rather than a monologue. Anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Please limit it to tennis and tennis only for now, because other sports, when we have sessions on other sports, we can talk about them later. I know it's Barcelona, I know it's Spain, I know it is football, but we'll stick to tennis for now. Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead. Yeah. What is the difference between playing in Spain and playing in France? Go ahead. I half heard you. What is the difference between? Okay, what is the difference between playing on clay and grass? Okay, I think Walter, you'll be the best person to answer that. What is the difference between playing on clay and what is the difference playing on grass? By the way, I have studied in the same school. There are about 4 to 6 tennis courts, and we are going to be changing them in the coming years. So they are located in a hill station on a hilltop. It's like a plateau, and it rains quite
Yeah.
heavily there. So rather than have clay or grass, in our time there was hard courts. I don't know what the courts are like now, but we will be changing them. So what is the difference between grass and clay courts?
The difference are many, starting from that grass court is already, let's say, a historical surface to play. Grass completely disappeared from the professional tennis.
Right.
Completely disappear. You have only 1 to 2 months period during the year that you play in grass, especially because it's Wimbledon. And Wimbledon, then before Wimbledon, you have 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, the few weeks before Wimbledon, some tournaments on grass for the players to prepare, for the surface. But it's just because England, let's say, was who create the sport, or that's what they say. And then grass was in the beginning the main surface when they decide to start the sport, and they keep it at something that has to stay because it's part of the history of the tennis. Okay, but that is the big difference. If right now, if Wimbledon doesn't exist, the grass court will disappear. Then the difference on playing on clay is very clear. Now on clay, the players on clay, you learn how to be a player. You learn how to play tennis. You learn how to play tactically. Okay, you have many variations and many different tactical games that you can be using, and also many kind of different styles of playing. Grass is a surface that forces you to play no long rallies, to force you to make a basic tactical game, okay? And depends a lot on the serve, no? Because breaking serves in grass court is very difficult. Then if you able to hold your serve and have a good serve, or just hold your serve, it's not necessary to have a big serve, will help you a lot to have good performances on hard. In clay, have a big serve, always help, but 10 of 20% that will help you on the grass court, And difference, if I make a player play on grass court when he's young all the time, and the same player playing on clay all the time, after, I can say immediately, but after some years, the player who train on clay will be complete and will be very mature and very intelligent to play with so many resources. The player who play on grass will be very limited to the professional tennis, completely limited to the professional tennis.
So you have it from the director himself of the tennis academy that if you're starting out and you want to be a complete player, it is ideal that you start on clay. Yes, we can have the next question, please. So this is a more question related to physical strength, where they want to develop the wrists. But I would like to take that rather than throw it to Walter. See, it's not just the wrists that are required when you're playing tennis. You need to have very strong hamstrings, glutes, quadriceps, lower back, your entire back, because you're using it. Shoulders need to be very strong because the weight of, despite the fact that the racket is light, but when you're playing for hours altogether, it's not just the wrists that are required, it's the entire body. The entire core has to be strong. Merely having strong wrists is not going to make you a great player. It has the complete body, complete physical, nutritional, experience that is going to make you a better player. We can move to the next question, please. Could you repeat the question, please? How to, Walter? So this is right up your alley. How do you prepare mentally for the game? Because we've seen this many times ourselves, that during practice, the athletes, not just in tennis, even in football and the other games, where we are coaching people, they are doing fantastically well in the training. But when it comes to the match day, sometimes people go awry. So how does one prepare mentally for a game?
Bueno, mentally for a game is like there is different, many different aspects or many different issues you have to have in account. It's not a simple answer to say one thing. For example, when you're training, the first thing you have to do is to training with the same intensity that you're gonna put in the matches. No, sometimes the players train with lower intensity or with less focus, on the training, because it's a routine. Then when they go to the matches, they want to put all that intensity, and all that concentration in the competition, and they have a lack of capability to put that on the game because they are not practicing that in a daily basis on the training. Then also, if I go just, let's go just directly to the question, because I can talk about this a lot now, because it's so many things you can do to help mentally a player.
Limited to the brass tacks.
Yeah. Then is to prepare. Each player will need to have their own mindset according to their own game and according to the basic tactical game they use, and have a routine, a mental routine pre-match, during match, just to make sure that the main issues on the mental side are clear during the competition. But this is a process that need to be developed between the player, the coach, and the psychologist for each player to find specifically the routine that each one of them has to develop, that will be helpful during the competition. But this question is big. This question is very big. We're talking about mental, include so many different aspects, okay? Then I said, like, to have a mental routine and a mindset very clear that you have to develop with the knowledge of the coaches, and that they help you to understand yourself much better to set the right plan when you go to compete.
Right. I understand there's paucity of time, and if we get logged out, we will be rejoining. That's the message I just received. One very important question that is left, and I would like to touch that first, because that is very important from my perspective. See, a lot of students want to become players, and then some succeed. There are students sometimes who don't succeed. When I say don't succeed, meaning to say they may have some sort of an injury, or maybe they miss an important match because of some reason, and then they're not able to, proceed further. But that is not the end of the world as an athlete, because as a career, playing the game is not the only thing. So if you look at Walter himself, he's an international coach, for example. But after uh, playing as, after an athlete as a tennis player, the players also become coaches. They become mentors. They become sports administrators. They become commentators, international. Yes, but I think if you could increase your volume a little bit. Yes, we can hear you. Yes. If you could repeat that, your voice is echoing a little bit. If you could just
Okay,
repeat
I'm
the
back.
question once. Adi, you got that question?
No, I didn't get that.
So what I understood, the crux is, how should somebody who's starting new, how should they approach becoming a tennis player, right? Is that the question? Okay, Adi, you got that?
Um, so approaching a sport, or specifically tennis, professionally involves a lot of things. You need to decide that this is what you want to do, all day, every day, throughout the year, throughout many years. So it depends on at what age you decide, because it kind of determines the maturity you have to um, look at the lifestyle. So my advice would be to see what the life ahead looks like, to see if you are happy while you're in that life, training, competing, managing a lot of things off court as well in that lifestyle. And yeah, with tennis or with any other sport, it's the same thing. If you do it because you're truly passionate for it, then anything is possible.
Right. Before we got disconnected, there was a very important question that I wanted to, answer. Is when people take up any sport as a career, in this case tennis, there are a lot of doubts that come into a person's or an athlete's mind. What if I don't succeed? What happens to me then? Firstly, you need to leave this doubt aside, because if you've set your mind to it, and this is all that you wish to do, and you're putting your heart and soul into it, there is no reason why you're not going to succeed, firstly. But once you've excelled and you've left your racket and you want to proceed further in life, there are a lot of other careers which are open, which are very well paying, and and covered extensively in the media, if you like to stay in the limelight. For example, people become coaches. Coaches is an excellent business. It's a booming business. You students are in the right age where you can play for the next 10-15 years and then become coaches, mentors, sports administrators, commentators, international match referees, sports managers, brand ambassadors. And obviously, once you've played the sport, then you will have money in hand to be entrepreneurs, where you can start your full scale side businesses, start your own academies like Walter has done, and be, have a sports business, brands, etc. So more can be added to it. So Walter, if you could touch on this question, what after a career of tennis, what do athletes do after they have left the racket?
Well, mainly I think you mentioned quite a lot of things, no? Because yeah, there is so many things, no? Like I say in the beginning, if you want to, that normally that in many of the cases that happen, the players, when they retire, they will continue in one way or another connected to the sports, no? But they can still fully connected to tennis, like you say, like coaches, like an academies, like being umpires and getting involved in associations and many things like that, running clubs, okay, be manager of tennis clubs, social clubs, also can open to the depends the possibilities to the sports journalism. There is so many, all the ones you mentioned. But don't forget also that besides that, they suppose and they should finish a career during the process they become a player until the time they retire. Then also they still having the possibility to go back to the career they were studying. No, that is another option that is still alive and is a good option. Like many cases, I know that players they finish their career, they were working as a coaches, but at the same time, finally they went.
I think till Walter is logging in, if you have any questions for Mohit, Adi, or myself, please feel free to ask. Yes, but I think if you could increase your volume a little bit. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
The question is, when did you begin with your tennis career, and what advice would you like to give to someone who wants to start his career in tennis?
If you could repeat that, your voice is echoing a little bit. If you could just repeat the question once.
Yes. The next question is by Priyank Pradana asking A for Ms. Ali Gupta. The question is, what advice would you like to give to a student who wants to begin his career in tennis, and when will you begin your career in tennis?
Adi, you got that question?
No, I didn't get that.
So what I understood, the crux is, how should somebody who's starting new, how should they approach becoming a tennis player, right? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, Adi, you got that?
So approaching a sport, or specifically tennis, professionally involves a lot of things. You need to decide that this is what you want to do all day, every day, throughout the year, throughout many years. So it depends on at what age you decide, because it kind of determines the maturity you have to look at the lifestyle. So my advice would be to see what the life ahead looks like, to see if you are happy while you're in that life, training, competing, managing a lot of things off court as well in that lifestyle. And yeah, with tennis or with any other sport, it's the same thing. If you do it because you're truly passionate for it, then anything is possible.
Right. Before we got disconnected, there was a very important question that I wanted to, answer. Is when people take up any sport as a career, in this case tennis, there are a lot of doubts that come into a person's or an athlete's mind. What if I don't succeed? What happens to me then? Firstly, you need to leave this doubt aside, because if you've set your mind to it and this is all that you wish to do and you're putting your heart and soul into it, there is no reason why you're not going to succeed, firstly. But once you've excelled and you've left your racket and you want to proceed further in life, there are a lot of other careers which are open, which are very well paying, and and covered extensively in the media if you like to stay in the limelight. For example, people become coaches, coaches is an excellent business. It's a booming business. You students are in the right age where you can play for the next 10-15 years and then become coaches, mentors, sports administrators, commentators, international match referees, sports managers, brand ambassadors. And obviously, once you've played the sport, then you will have money in hand to be entrepreneurs where you can start your full scale side businesses, start your own academies like Walter has done, and be, have a sports business, brands, etc. So more can be added to it. So Walter, if you could touch on this question, what after a career of tennis, what do athletes do after they have left the racket?
Well, mainly I think you mentioned quite a lot of things, no? Because yeah, there is so many things, no? Like I say in the beginning, if you want to, that normally that in many of the cases that happen, the players when they retire, they will continue in one way or another connected to the sports, no? But they can still fully connected to tennis, like you say, like coaches, like academies, like being umpires and getting involved in associations and many things like that, running clubs, okay, be manager of tennis clubs, social clubs. Also can open to the, depends the possibilities to the sports journalism. There is so many, all the one you mentioned. But don't forget also that besides that, they suppose and they should finish a career during the process they become a player until the time they retire. Then also they still having the possibility to go back to the career they were studying. No, that is another option that is still alive and is a good option. Like many cases, I know that players they finish their career, they were working as a coaches, but at the same time, finally they went fully into what they study, like they were lawyers, okay, and they become lawyers. But the sports give you so many and so different variety of options to continue related to sports, not only in the sport you were playing, also in another fields that will make you a living career after you retire from tennis, no? And you mentioned most of them, no? And there is more options, no?
Let me tell you that sports as an industry is the fastest growing, and the fitness field is the fastest growing in the world, and is moving, and it's increasing almost at the pace of $100 billion a year. So there are opportunities for everybody. If you see, we brought in Adi because being a world ranking player, you could relate to her because she's in school. But now I would like to bring in Mohit Sharma as well, because Mohit has finished school and he's at the next stage. So the stage you are in as school-going children is the age where Adi is in your group. And when we graduate to the next level, we would want to understand what's it like. You finished your school life, you've done your schooling, and you are now a player, whether world ranking or not, you're still a professional athlete. What is life now? Once you finish school and move into the professional circuit? Mohit, if you would take that question, please.
Yeah, for me, like I'm pursuing tennis to be a professional. So this is a commitment I've made to myself, and this goes full time all throughout the day, throughout the years. So if I've decided that I'm going to become a tennis professional, whatever I do with my life, how I spend my time, it's all to help me become a better tennis player. So this is what I would say, like if you're trying to be a professional, especially in tennis, which takes patience and time, you have to dedicate all of your efforts to the sport.
Walter, in India, parents are very concerned with, okay, you've done your schooling, what are you going to do next? Now, if they decide to take up, let's say in this case, tennis as a career, one very important question everybody is going to ask: salaries. What are you going to get? If I could use it in our local terminology, milega kitna last mein? Kitna expect kar sakte hain? What is the salary bracket, firstly of national athletes, and then obviously international athletes as well? I don't want the ones who are the top 2, top 5 in the world, but on an average, what is an average national player and what is an average international player making?
Well, then now the open up a lot the possibilities, not for the national players, because right now there is a lot of more money tournaments, no national tournaments that involve money. In India, you have no tournaments, no ITA, no with money, all the tournaments. Here in Europe, you have it's opening a lot to those kind of money tournaments that will help the player initially to sustain or try to sustain themselves to continue following or trying to reach their careers as a pro players, no? Then when you're already becoming a pro player, the thing is like you have teams, no? That you play teams in Europe that according to your level, according to your ranking, they pay you a good money to represent them, no? For a couple weekends a year only, no? 3 or 4 weekends a year, and they paying for that. Then the UTR is a new kind of tournament that started a couple years ago only, and that is becoming a good source of income for the players, no? Just to get, and I think the living you can make as a pro player is gonna be all depends the level, not the rankings. All depends the ranking. But here in Europe, like I say, if you are a tennis player that you are top 1,000 in the world, your salary is gonna be much better than a normal person or even a engineer working here in Spain, because you need to know in which way to move to make that money. Okay, you have to mix the professional tournament that you're trying to improve your rankings, but at the same time you mix them with money tournaments, with UTR, with teams, and with other things that at the end are gonna make a good salary, not to have a living during the time you keep pursuing to improving your tennis ranking. That will be more income, no? Even more income.
So I think we are completely out of time, I understand. So probably I think we can take one last question before we wrap this up and close it in the next 3 minutes. Any last questions? If you have more than one, you can club the 2 questions together, please.
What was the greatest achievement or your greatest achievement as a coach?
I think your audio is not coming through. Probably you can speak without the mic. Is that possible? Because the voice is echoing. If you can you can type the question. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. The next question is for Mr. Walter Grunfeld by Ritvik Pandey of class 12.
Right.
The question is, what is your biggest achievement as a coach during your career?
So Walter, I think that is a tough one for you, because of all the achievements that you've had in the last 3+ decades. Which is the one you can pinpoint and say this has been my one great achievement, apart from obviously being the founder of one of the biggest and most renowned academies in the world? What else?
Well, there is so many things that I achieved during my career. Now you have to think like I'm already 40 years coaching. Then I achieved so many things, but I think that because in a sport, the most important thing is the passion, no? Because if you do sport, you do it because you have a passion. The biggest reward you can have as a coach is not that I have, no, but it's not to have a top player is to make a player from scratch. You know, to make a player when it's a average, regular, or low standard tennis player, no, level-wise. And after years of work, you make that player become a pro. And I think that is much more important than to have a top 10 in the world, because you make somebody that nobody believe on him, and working through years, you make him a pro player. And that is what gives me more satisfaction than any other thing.
So
that for the people
being
can
very
be big things.
simple there. He's had hundreds of top athletes cutting across continents who have trained under him. And yes, as he rightly said, the biggest satisfaction is taking a player from scratch to the top level. That is an achievement, not managing a top athlete. I would like to close this session, but before I do, I would like to thank Brother Hector Pinto for the excellent initiatives he's taking to take SEM to even greater heights. Mr. Shashank Emmanuel and myself as alumni, and along with the several others who are working at CATFIT, are keen to make a difference in the sporting careers of SEM students. We are always available for you, is what I can tell you. If any of you wish to reach out to us, have any more questions, because I understand that we had limited time that we could interact in. Lot of you would have personal questions that you would like to ask, may not be able to ask because you're sitting in the audience. That also happens. Feel free to reach out to us at info@catfit.in, info@catfit.in. And you can also log into Instagram or Facebook pages of CATFIT, and you can type your question. But please do mention that you're from SEM so that you do get a response, right? So once again, thank you to the staff and teachers of SEM and the students for taking out time today. To Mr. Rakesh Bhattji, who's been instrumental in ensuring that this is a success, and of course, Brother Hector Pinto. Thank you once again, SEM.
Greetings to one and all present here. I would like to thank our principal, Reverend Brother Hector Pinto, for arranging this informative webinar on the topic tennis as a career. And I would also like to thank the staff of St. Joseph's College for their cooperation. We would like to appreciate the efforts of CATFIT for organizing this knowledgeable session. We would also like to thank Mr. Shashank Emmanuel and XMI for coordinating with Mr. Rakesh Bhatt for making this event. It wouldn't have been possible to organize this event without the efforts of Mr. Arvind Dixit and alumni of St. Joseph's College, who is currently the global head of CATFIT. This event wouldn't have been so informative without Mr. Walter Grunfeld and Ms. Adi Gupta, our panelists for the webinar. Mr. Walter Grunfeld is the Executive Director at Tennis Coaching Academy, Barcelona, Spain, and also an international tennis coach, whereas Ms. Adi Gupta is a rising tennis player at ITF. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for sharing your valuable time with us. We are sure that many of our students will be inspired by your experiences and will look forward to tennis as a career. Not to forget, I would also like to thank Mr. Virendra Mandar and his team for handling the technical department and managing this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again, Walter, Adi, and Mohit, for taking out time for today. Thank you.
No, thank you to you, Arpan. And I think that was a little bit making some clarity, in at least in the beginning for all these students to get a little bit understanding how this life is and to make the step, whoever wants to make the step forward to try to go for this path,
Thank you, everyone.